Hey guys, Nick here, and today we will be seeing the true results, of the governor teaming with the claimers. An interesting thing that not even I thought of until I actually wrote this part. But anyways, how will this team up and the information that the claimers have turn into Rick's group in the process? This is part 10 to What If Sophia Joined Negan. Now, the claimers and the governor, even with that, it's not enough. Because even if they go there with the information and everything, it's not enough men. They might as well just be going to their death. So they gotta find more people. Really against the claimers' better judgment, because the claimers have never really done that. But anyways, they eventually come across the Chamber residence, the apartment, and find Tara, Megan, and Lily. Now, by this point, I feel that it might be too soon to call it, but David would probably still end up dying the same way, if not maybe even before they got there. So, that's kind of not really truly relevant, but figure I'd bring it up. Now, Joe, as I said with the claimers, it'd be weird, because the governor joining the claimers was weird enough, but heck, with the one eye, well, they caused the one eye, but with the way he was, good man. But as for the women, we all know about what the claimers had in store for Michonne and Carl. It's against their better judgment, but they're more or less in tow because of information about Sophia. So, it's not the biggest deal. They're going with it for now. Again, eventually, I feel that with the governor being there, the claimers would be more or less pushed to side characters, which would give the governor time to have all the interactions he did with the Chamber family, and then eventually meeting the militia. The only differences are, Martinez would not be with the militia, and the governor would be a lot more cool, calm, and composed, because he actually has a plan before meeting the militia. Now, because of them meeting the militia, and the governor being there, I feel that Pete would be the only one to die here, because, once again, Martinez is with Woodbury and everything else. And eventually, they get the tank and everything ready, and the militia and the claimers, the governor, all of them, and they make their way towards Woodbury. This is going to be a big fight. Well, sort of. And it's kind of like the prison setup, where they had the tank and the cars and everything, except it's at Woodbury. Who would have thought? Anyways, they begin the plan and prepare to blow up one of the houses, in which they actually do. They get the tank all holstered up before anyone can notice the tank and cars at Woodbury, and blow up one of the houses. And that's when they see the tank and cars, well, Rick and his people see the tank and cars, and that's when they know this is most likely the governor's doing. And the governor, even though this used to be his town, it really isn't anymore. He was told that he basically had no role to fulfill at the town anymore, so it really isn't his town anymore, so he doesn't care. He burned down his whole town in the original, so here doesn't really matter. Anyways, after one of the houses in Woodbury is blown up, Rick, Shane, Dale, Andrew, and Carol all make their way towards the gates. And these would be the top leaders in this story. Carol more or less for Sophia, in case it was the governor possibly finding Sophia and holding her at hostage point or something. They don't know, because they don't even know if she's still alive, because she never found her as a walker. Now, while all of them are going towards the gates, Daryl has a second plan in the hands of Martinez, Carl, Oscar, T-Dog, Big Tiny, Merle, Axel, and Beth. All of them are going to a separate side of where the governor and the claimers are. It's sort of like at Alexandria in my What If Rick Spared Shane remake, where they did that with Little Timmy and the brigade and everything, except it's done differently here. So, reuse material. Anyway, Rick asks the governor what they're doing here, even though he kind of knows the answer, here for revenge. But why the extra people? Where'd he find them? The governor says that he is in no mood to answer any kinds of questions, but he has found some people who have information. and he's simply here for revenge to get his town back more or less, but, you know, like I said, be hard to determine how much the governor truly would care about his town in that moment. But anyways, he then tells Joe to speak up about the information that they have. Joe then goes on to state about the little girl that Rick's group was supposedly looking for, because they aren't going to know the name. Well, the governor would tell them, but the claimers really don't care. And say that Lou saw a little girl matching the description running by about a year ago, and didn't give chase, didn't do anything. Now, because of this lead, Carol feels a mixture of both happiness and complete and utter sadness, because even though this is a good lead, God knows if she's even still alive. We know she is, but as for the group, she might as well be considered dead. But this is a very good lead nonetheless. Now, Joe says, well, the possibility of her being alive is strong. He tells them not to get their hopes up. And also says that they really didn't give chase because it wouldn't have mattered. It's just a little girl. And they are just here more or less just for that information. They're not interested in the town or anything else. They're just interested in going about their own rules and their own ways. All this was the governor's doing. And the governor, feeling himself like being kind of thrown under the bus here, doesn't really care because the information has been laid out. And he then says that they have information now. And they can have one of two options. They can either give back the town that was once his, or they can just all die. And this is basically like season 4 Governor, except it's at Woodbury. Now Shane, at this point, especially with the knowledge of Sophia, starting to lose his patience, and he more or less feels kind of remorseful. With all this time he's been saying that Sophia could be dead out there, this lead kind of proves him wrong. And we know it proves him wrong, but we don't know how Shane would really feel about this, whether he would just feel like these guys are lying, or feel remorse for how heartless he was, especially causing Carol to smack him. Now, because of how short patient-wise we know Shane to be, he pulls out his shotgun and just shoots the governor straight in the other eye. This would give him a comic-like death, which I've kind of noted to the comics every now and again. I don't really read them, but I know enough kind of about most of them to use small details. So, the governor gets a comic death because Shane losing his patience and feeling remorse for the whole Sophia thing, we could assume he would do this, especially after the governor just blew up one of the houses. God knows who could have been in there. And Daryl, seeing this happen and being with all the other people that he's with at the side of Woodbury, from where all the other people are, nods to the rest of his team, and they attack. So every one of the claimers and the militia are taken down. All except for Megan, Lily, Tara, and Joe. The 3 women, the 2 women and girl, because they really haven't done anything too major. And as for Joe, questioning. But, unfortunately, the claimers being there gives them an open advantage. We know how crafty the wolves were. The claimers were crafty, but not so much as them, I feel. But Len manages to get inside Woodbury and fire an arrow. And its unfortunate victim is Dale. Now, I've had this happen, Dale sacrificing himself in What If Amy Survived? But here it's under different circumstances, and it's a lot sooner. Rick, seeing this and feeling enraged at this point, probably as much as Shane was, and just everything to that nature, pulls out his python and shoots Len so many times, he's completely unrecognizable. Because Dale, with how much longer he lived, he was an important guy. He was a really good person for the team, about humanity and everything. We already know that from the original. And Joe, seeing no further use left for him, since the information's pretty much given to them at this point, is shot dead the same way. And Dale, unfortunately, has to be put down because the arrow hit him fatally in the chest. And even though he lived a little bit longer, like I've said before, I planned to do a What If Dale Survived remake, but for the consistencies of the stories that I have been doing, it's just Dale's fate. Now, Carol, having regained her composure and everything else, is more happy than anything else for the lead that they have gotten. Sure, she was upset, but it was more or less the fact that she doesn't even still know if Sophia's still alive out there. But the fact that they have this lead, even from enemies, whether it's true or not, it's a lead. And Rick pretty much reiterates the same. And now that they have a lead, and, well, since one of their freaking houses in the town has been blown to smithereens, they have to leave. And now they will go the way to finding Sophia. And now the hunt can truly go back to its original standing with a very big lead. But how close of a lead is this? Do you think that they will encounter Negan much sooner than in the original timeline? Or do you think that this is just a wild goose chase and it will end with them meeting Negan the same way? And that's where we leave things for the moment. Hope you guys enjoyed this part, and hope you're enjoying What If Sophia Joined Negan as a whole. Definitely getting to some pretty spicy parts here, especially with the Governor comic death. And trust me, guys, with how long the series is still going to be, we're in for some serious freaking parts here, and definitely going to be one of my top stories if I do say so myself. But I hope you guys enjoyed, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.